A lot of people were asking me, how do I get XPadder to work on my computer? So the first thing you probably would need is a decompression software, which you go to Google, like me. Here, let me go back to Google. There you go, Google, and then try WinRAR space CNET. And WinRAR is WINRAR and then space CNET. And I use CNET because I've never had virus problems with them. And as you can see on the screen, I got the first answer, which was WinRAR and parentheses 32-bit and dash cnetdownload.com, and you could download it from here. And if you don't know if you have 32-bit or 64-bit on your computer, you could check by going to the start and then to your control panel and then over to, where is it, system. I'm looking for system, there we go. This is a 64-bit one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close it. I'm going to have to change my networking settings. But anyway, for the sake of the video, 32-bit and 64-bit. I have 64-bit, so I would get the 64-bit version. And what you do is you just click on whichever version you want, and it'll take you to this website over here. And if you see here, it'll say download now, and you just click on download now, and then it'll download the program for you. And I'm using Google Chrome as my browser, so there it is. And as you can see there, it downloaded it twice for some reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, so anyway, you would just click on that exe file and it'll start up the process of installing the WinRAR software. Once you have WinRAR software installed, you go back to Google and type in XPadder free. Alright, and the version that I'm using is XPadder 5.3, and you could download it here at TechSpot, or let me see, let me check this one out. I want to see if this is 5.3 or which version this is. XPadder using, yeah, I can't even tell. This is some weird thing. So yeah, if you look at the thing and it doesn't even tell you, oh, author's description. Yeah, I'm not getting much from this website, so I'm gonna go to a different one. So yeah, you could get it from this one, XPadder 5.3 download from TechSpot. Just make sure whatever you download, you check with your antiviruses, you know, because I don't know the people that run these websites or anything. So, you know, if you get infected, I'm sorry. Not my fault. I mean, well, maybe it's a little my fault, but yeah, I personally, I don't know this website though, but they have the software here. So if you want, download it, run an antivirus check on it, see if it works. And this is the version that I am using. It's freeware, so you can get it for free. And if you want a newer version, this website right here I recognize, SourceForge. Usually they have less viruses and stuff from your average website, but again, I would scan it, and what you do to download this one, you download it right here on this green box. So let me run that by you again. So this is XPadder, this is version 7, wait, this is version, come on, oh, there it is, version 5.7. Okay, and you click the green button and you download it. Okay, so that's a newer version than the other one. Let me go back, and this is 5.3. You can download it here by clicking download now. And like I said, make sure you scan with antivirus. Okay, so once you download that, it's going to go ahead, and whether you do it from one place or the other, it should take you here, and it'll say if you haven't started downloading, click here. So you go ahead and click there, and then it'll start downloading the file over at the bottom left. And that's the one you want to scan with your antivirus. Make sure I'm not leading you into some like crazy thing, whatever, and go ahead and do that. So now, with all that said and done, you installed both of those softwares. You know, you installed your WinRAR and your XPadder software. And WinRAR lets you open the XPadder software. That's why you installed it in the first place, because in some cases it'll come compressed. Yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much it. You go ahead and you close these out, and then you're going to have an icon on your desktop, which, you know, for the sake of privacy, I took out my stuff there. And you go ahead and you double click your icon for XPadder, and it'll open up this XPadder software. Now when you open yours, you'll probably see this thing here, or you'll probably end up seeing something that looks more like this magenta looking square. Okay, but before I even get into this, I have to make sure that you guys have something compatible that works with this software, because as you can see here, it says controller parentheses Xbox 360 wireless receiver for Windows. Now if you have a USB Xbox 360 controller for Windows, it also works. But you know, if you're using like a PS3 controller or something, you know, I'm not even sure if it'll work. So use this at your own risk. As a matter of fact, there's another software you might want to use for that controller. It's called Motion Joy, but I don't have a PS3 or PlayStation whatever control, so I'm using this. Okay, so back to this. Like I said, you need a wireless dongle thing for your computer, or a USB wired 360 controller that plugs into your computer. If you have a Wi-Fi controller, you need that dongle though. Okay, back to the magenta screen. Now when you get here, and you know, granted your controller is on by now and it's actually installed, because that's a whole nother process. You gotta install your controller before you could mess with this XPadder software. So once you have, you know, your controller installed, you downloaded your XPadder software, you get over here, you're gonna see these tabs. It's Start, Image, Sticks, D-pad, Buttons, Triggers. So it's pretty simple really. I start off with sticks. I click on Stick 1 tab, and then it says Enabled. I click on that. And then it says Push Stick 1 Left. So I go ahead, look at my controller. I see Stick 1 is my left analog stick, so I push it left, and then I push it up, you know, as guided by the control. Now if I move this thing around, you'll see that it lights up. And don't worry if your arrow doesn't move around as you move around your left analog stick. That's because I have already programmed mine, but I'll show you how that works in a second. Stick 2. Stick 2 is your right analog stick, so you enable that one. And then it says push it left and then push it up. So I do that, and then now I move it around and I see that it works. Okay, D-pad. D-pad is your directional pad right under your left analog stick. So it says move it up, down, left, right. I did that. It's set up. You see it there. Then buttons. X, Y, A, B, back, start, LB, RB, and after you got your, you know, all 6 of those buttons in there, and no, I mean 8 of those buttons in there, including back and start, don't forget your left analog stick pushing downwards is also a button, and your right analog stick when you push it down is also a button. You want those in there too. And that would make 10 buttons altogether. Now you go over to triggers, and those are your disregard that. Those are your back triggers. Your left trigger is back here. It's LT. You go ahead and you hold it and let it go. Oh shit, I messed up. When you mess up, you could just click enable and then click enable again until it checks off, and then do it again. Hold left trigger and let go. Hold right trigger. Oh, damn it. Well, let's see if it worked. It worked. It's fine. Okay. So once you're done with that and you have all your buttons mapped out on this magenta screen, you go ahead and click finish and then you click close. Alright. Now you're going to have this thing left, and there's Grumpy Cat. You're going to have this thing in the background, and for you, you're not going to have anything on these boxes. You're not going to have arrows or anything. You're not going to have anything on these boxes either. They're all going to be blank, just like these buttons are right here. They're going to look like this, so, over here, and all these are going to be blank. The reason I have stuff on mine is because I already set mine up. And this right here is a setting to make my Xbox 360 controller operate as a mouse. So let me show you how that works. This little square right here, this cross made out of squares, is my left analog stick. The middle one is the directional pad, and the right one is the right analog stick. This bar right here of many buttons is the different buttons on the Xbox 360 controller. Those are like X, Y, A, B, back, start, LB, RB, and the two analog stick buttons. And on the top left and the top right are your two triggers. So what I do for the left analog stick, I go ahead and click the top box, and as you can see here, it gives you a whole keyboard and a mouse on the right hand side for you to mess with. Whatever you press from this keyboard or this mouse, when you press up on your analog stick, which is this square you see me messing around with the arrow, whatever button I press here is going to be what gets pressed when I press up on my analog stick. In this case, as you can see, this is a mouse diagram, and this is an arrow pointing up above the mouse diagram. I'm going to make the up arrow that signifies moving upward on the mouse. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and that's going to be up on my left analog stick, which is equal to up on my mouse. Does that make sense? So basically, if I push up on my left analog stick, I'm going to be pushing up on the mouse, even if I'm not pushing up on the mouse. You get me? Like, I'm not moving my mouse upward. I'm pushing up my left analog stick now. Okay. So you follow the same routine. Now you push down. You push the bottom square because it's going to be blank like this, and then you push this arrow down here. And now when you press down on your left analog stick, it's going to be like pushing down on the mouse. Okay? You can still use your mouse. See, I'm using my mouse right now, but then I can switch over to my up and down on my left analog stick. Okay, so what about left and right? Same thing. You click the left little box here, and you click the movement to your left on the mouse diagram, and now you can move left with your left analog stick. And this is all with the left analog stick. If you want to do it with the right, you could do it with the right. If you want to do it with the directional pad, you could do it with the directional pad. Just make sure when you do it, you don't confuse yourself, because you can if you start doing like multiple settings and everything. So now I'm going to do the final one, which is movement to the right with the movement to the right of the mouse on the right square, which signifies my right direction on my left analog stick. Okay, hopefully I said all that right without confusing anybody. So yeah, so now I got all the directions mapped out on my mouse, and I can move my mouse around by using my left analog stick. Okay, so I go ahead and I click on the box, and now it's all set up. Now what I put there is on my directional pad, which is this one, I put up and down for my mouse scroll. So when I'm looking at websites or whatever, I could scroll the website up or down using my directional pad. Okay, so yeah. So that's up on the mouse scroll, and this will be down on the mouse scroll, which is what I'm clicking on down there. And now my left click is LT, which is my left trigger. and that's up here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on left mouse button, which is this one over here on the mouse diagram, and RT up here, which is my RT on the mouse diagram. So now I have right click, and I can just right click on the screen by pressing RT or my right trigger on my controller. And I could hit, for example, like, let's say I wanted to click new. Now I could use my LT button to click new, and there it is. See? So I can move around, left click, right click, and scroll up and down. And now, for a lot of people, the question is, what about if the left analog stick it's moving, but it's moving at a very, I don't know, slow rate, fast rate, you know, and I want to control how fast the control moves my mouse. And what you do is you take a really close look right here, and you see that there's a little circle with a wrench inside of it, and that signifies a tool. So you click on that little tool on the left analog stick, or whatever, you know, wherever you set it up is fine, but just, you know, you click on that one, and you'll see something that says mouse settings. You click on mouse settings, and you get this thing right here. Now what I recommend is you click on this tiny thing right here that says move together. Oh, there's cursor also. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I'll just keep it on look camera. It doesn't really matter. That's this thing over here where it says test, which won't matter. Just forget about mode and look at move together. Make sure it's checked off. And this is pretty simple. If you move this to the left, both of them get moved to the left. If you move this to the right, both of them get moved to the right because you click move together. What this means is when I put it to the fastest speed, when I move my mouse, my left analog stick, which is now acting as my mouse, it's moving so fast you can't even see it. So I got to slow it down. So I grab my mouse and I slow it down. I'm going to put it to the slowest speed. Wow, it's barely moving. This thing sucks. I need it to move faster. So now I grab the thing and I set it up to the speed which I want it to move at. Is this good? This is pretty good. I can control it. Let me see. I want to go to normal. I want to go to none. I want to go to the thing over here. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I could move it. I could control it. So once I'm done, I'll hit X. So now I have a fully functional, mouse using my Xbox 360 controller. And you know what though? I want to add some stuff. Like, what about if I don't want to use LT and RT as my left and right click? Let's say I want to use X and Y, right? So I click X a couple of times and then I see it light up on there. Oh, okay, so that's X. I want that to be my left click also. You could still do that. You could be like, okay, X is going to be my left click, and what's Y? So you click Y and then you see it light up. See? Oh, okay, cool. I want Y over here to be my right click. So now you could have X and Y also work as your left and right click, and your left trigger and right trigger also work as your left and right click. You could make both of your analog sticks the movement of the mouse. The only thing is, be careful, because if you start doing stuff like that, you could confuse yourself. All right. Well, this is really cool and all, but now what? Like, I have a setting the way I like it. Is there a way to save this, etc.? Yes, there is. What you do is you go over here to click Save As to save out layout. To save layout, sorry. And you go over to Save As, and then right there you name it whatever it is you want to name it. In my case, I name it mouse, and I'll save it. Overwrite, because I'm going to overwrite whatever I had. Okay, it's saved. And this one over here, it says Untitled Profile. I don't even know. I never even messed with that. But whatever. You guys could toy around with the rest of the tools, but pretty much this is how I leave this program open. I'll minimize it, and now I could use my controller as a mouse and do whatever it is I want. I could be laying down, watching movies with this controller instead of having a remote control. that controls my computer.